upon a time,
George Washington was walking around doing things like he always does, and chopping down cherry trees and getting bad teeth.
And dusting off his wig that was gray and made of pigeon feathers.
And he had a dream to be the father of this country, and so he got on his
knees and started to pray on a regular basis every single solitary day of his life.
And this dream and prayer got into this magical land of outer
space and took him to a far, far land.
But then he went across the Delaware, and he didn't
know where he was going, and he needed a map to follow, and so he called
upon his unicorn, because his unicorn could fly into outer.
The unicorn had more friends than anybody else did. And so as they came together in the outer space world,
they went around in space and found a pitchfork floating around.
And they began to have sex with each other. They all enjoyed it so much that they...
they all enjoyed it so much that they
decided not to write the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence and cancel all plans for the United States of America.
And they ended up...
okay, and they ended up
masturbating all day long. That is why
nothing ever happened with the United States because that's all they did.
Mainly because they were sore. After so long
of doing that activity, it became very hard to focus.
And they were wondering why the Delaware was also in space.
And Delaware was flying around the moon.
Because George Washington had a pitchfork up his butt.
This pitchfork up his butt made him feel real good.
And so he decided to produce more pitchforks and sell.
He tried to row with the pitchfork in the Delaware, but
he started to have sex with animals.
And it was a fish in the lake, and he had sex with it too.
But it wasn't as good as the unicorn.
And the unicorn had special
powers that just
burst into flames.
Glitters and rainbows.
And lubricant all over the world.
And his sister was cross-eyed.
Gravity in space
was just keeping the sex down.
And really fun and interesting.
But she was kind of ill.
And the pitchfork was...
She was kind of ill, and the pitchfork was
broken in half because he was using it for other things. And
there are so many stars in the world, though, that
they were wondering how they're going to procreate with no
bong in the room.
Well, that was okay. He was going to pray again.
But his wife decided she wanted to
get in on that action, so she started.
She started to come as well.
She wanted to get in on the action, so she
looked for a hot new date.
And they went into outer space together.
Then they flew around the moon,
riding on this pitchfork,
and having lots of fun singing
and dancing
and performing strange sexual, looking for space hookers,
and wanting to have sex with
a cherry tree.
The moral of the story is
George Washington
is a
homophobe.